So today we are going to be ranking every single rookie from this rookie class in the WNBA from worst to best. And this is only going to be players that are actually getting minutes. So I'm not going to be putting in Nika Mule. I'm not going to be putting in Celeste Taylor. I'm not going to be putting in Lou Lopez Seneschal. I'm not going to be putting in these rookies that are not playing any minutes because I just don't think there's any point in them. So this is all people that have played that are either playing some minutes or have at least played big enough minutes in some games. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We are trying to hit 8.4 thousand by the end of today. We're trying to hit 10,000 by the end of the month. If we can hit 8.4k by the end of the day, we are going to be on track, lads. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently as well. But anyway, now let's get on to the list. So we've got 12 players right here, and we have Alyssa Peely first, and she's played big minutes in some games. She had that 20-point game, but you can see here, she hasn't scored in her last... she's gotten a couple of minutes here and there and hasn't scored. She's on a really good team. The only problem is that what height do they have her listed as? 6'2". She's probably closer to 5'11" than she is 6'2". And she doesn't have the foot speed to play as a guard, and she doesn't necessarily have the height to play as a big. She can shoot the ball a little bit. She's pretty decent offensively, but I think, especially on the Lynx roster, she was not necessarily a waste of a pick, but just didn't really fit. Or didn't really fit. There's not any minutes for her on this team. Then at number 11, there is JC Sheldon, who was the 5th pick in the draft. The reason why they passed up on Aliyah Edwards and they passed up on Angel Reese is purely because, look, they thought Sadu Sabali was playing. They thought they were sorted at their forward position. They thought they needed a guard. And in JC Sheldon's defense, if I'm making this list in a month time, I think she could really get higher on this list. She's been very good the last few games that I've watched for the Wings. They played the Mercury. She's playing 17, 18, 23 minutes. She had 7 points. I didn't watch this game against the Sun. But when I watched them against the Mercury, she looked pretty decent. But she's shooting the ball okay. Not really from three. Geez, she hasn't hit a three-pointer. She's hit a couple of mid-range that made me think that she was shooting the ball a bit better, but she's not shooting well from three. She's getting, you can see 4-3, 3-2 as far as assists go. She's passing the ball well. She's being decent. As much as, do they regret taking her? Sure. Will they be a much better team if they take in Aliyah Edwards or Angel Reese? Sure. But this is one where, if she breaks into that top 7 or 8 rookies by the end of the year, I wouldn't be that surprised because she is starting to play a little bit more. And at number 10, we have her teammate, Ozun, who is playing obviously more minutes, but as the year's going on, JC Sheldon's starting to play quite a few of her minutes. So you can see here, 22-17. With Sheldon playing more minutes, her minutes are dropping a little bit. But again, one of the main players for the Dallas Wings, she was undrafted out of Turkey, but an older rookie, only a year younger than me. Still, though, very, very solid start to her season. The Wings are just terrible. So you have to take how good the team is into consideration. And she's got much better stats than some people ahead of her. But I'm gonna put her a little bit lower. We've got Fibic next at number 9, I think. So Fibic is a shooter. That's what she does. You can see here, she had 12 against the Mystics. She hit some big shots against the Mystics if you watch this game. She genuinely down the stretch was hitting some big ones, 4 of 8 from 3 for her 12 points. She just shoots the 3 ball. That's all she does. Rebounds, she had 9 boards against Atlanta, 8 points. She's been a really, really good rookie. 22nd pick in the 2020 draft. And this is obviously the first year I think she's been in the league. This doesn't make sense, does it? How was she allowed to be drafted when she was 20? That's weird. Either way, no, she's been really good. She's been genuinely really good off the bench. But if we're looking at pure bench players on good teams, I'll put Kate Martin ahead of her. I think Kate Martin has done more. She's, as far as just pure shooting and scoring goes, you could definitely argue Fibic has done better. But I just think all around game, Kate Martin's been exceptional. She's playing less minutes now. She's been a good bench player for a good Aces, for a mediocre Aces team, for being honest, this season. But definitely was worth a second round pick. Definitely worth a spot in the roster. And having her in 8, I think is fair. Having her in 8 is fair. If you have her higher than that, I'd be maybe you're just kind of gassing it. But Kate Martin's a very solid player. Then at number 7, we have got Cardoso. Cardoso is another person who could rise. She's playing more minutes. She hadn't played more than 30 minutes and played 35 against the Fever. Only 6 boards, or sorry, 10 boards, but only 6 offensive. She doesn't seem to be a great defensive rebounder. Like, again, against the Dream, 5 boards, all offensive. Her footwork isn't the greatest. Her ability to move on her feet isn't the greatest. She can be attacked on defense by good guards, but at the same time, her finishing around the basket is second to none. She's big. Other than Brittany Griner, she's probably the next big useful center in the league. Maybe you could argue Yuru, who's as big as her, could be better, but I do think that Cardoso is quite a bit better than Yuru. But I think right now 7 is probably the fair spot to have her in. You could argue her maybe being higher, but for me, I think 7 is completely justified. At number 6, we got Cameron Brink. And oh my god, a list that doesn't have Cameron Brink in their top 3. I think Cameron Brink's been fine. Every time I watch them play, she blocks a couple of shots, sure. 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. She will have every 5 games she plays, she'll have 1 decent game, 1 really good game, and 3 garbage games. You can see right here. Well, this is more than 5, but a good game against Dallas, 10 and 10, with, you can't see it on screen, with 3 blocks. And then she had 16 points in their last game. Her first, she had no blocks. And in the game before, 0 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 turnovers. She had no blocks. She hasn't had a block in her last 2 games. And then the aces, anytime she comes up against a big that wants to go at her, like Asia Wilson, she'll block their shots. But there's some games she's just struggled with. She hasn't had a block in her last 2 games. She literally had 0 points, 4 rebounds, an assist, no blocks, and 4 turnovers in a game. If any of the other top rookies had that game, it would be oh my god, how did they have a game that badly? For that reason, I'm having her in here at 6. At number 5, I've got her teammate, Rickea Jackson. Jackson is starting to play more minutes and she's starting to score more. The more she's shooting the ball terribly, but from 3, but from the field, she's shooting the ball pretty well. She can score. She is a scorer. She'll rebound the ball pretty well. She's a big wing and a very solid player. And I think when it's all said and done in a couple of years' time, she could be one of the 2 or 3 best players in this rookie class. She has that potential to be one of the best players in this rookie class. At number 4, I'm putting Julie Van Leeuwen. I've watched the Mystics more than any sane person probably should. And I think Julie Van Leeuwen's been one of their best players. I think she's one of the better guards in this league. Genuinely. I think she's one of the better point guards in this league. Because if you look at these games, 11, 8, 8, 9, 6. So she's giving you a consistent, it's 8.1, but it's not 20, 2, 17, 6. It is consistent scoring. She's averaging 5.4 assists per game. She's turning the ball over, in fairness, just like every guard in this league does quite a bit. But she's a shooter. She's a pretty good one. She doesn't really make that many mistakes. She'll get the ball past the halfway line. She'll pass the ball to to Aaliyah Edwards. And she's a really good point guard. I think just as far as guards go in the league, she's been one of the best. And I think having her in at number 4 on the rookie class isn't crazy. You could definitely argue Rickea Jackson should be out of her. And I think as the season goes on, when Jackson starts to continue to be in that starting role, she probably will go higher. I think Cameron Brink might go higher. But for now, I got Julie Van Leeuwen here at 4. At number 3, I got Aaliyah Edwards. She stepped up huge. She's 23, 10, 16. She has destroyed. And I mean it. You look at the shooting percentages. 10 of 12 and 6 of 7. She has given Angel Reese the business both times they played. Regardless of what the box score says, Aaliyah Edwards has absolutely given Angel Reese the business. Every single time. She just seals Angel Reese, face cuts on Angel Reese constantly. Gets offensive boards over Reese. It is, to be fair, only 2. But her whole all-around game she has killed this guy. But in the other games I watched him, she really struggled against the Fever. I watched the Liberty game. She didn't look too great in the Liberty game. I did not watch the Dream game where they won. But she has been playing better. She's a really good rookie. And again, she's someone who, if they win Rookie of the Year, would not be a surprise. I think anyone below this, it's unlikely they win Rookie of the Year. But if Aaliyah Edwards wins Rookie of the Year, I'm not surprised. At number 2, I'm going to go Angel Reese. She's averaging a double-double. offensive, but she's not the greatest defensive rebounder. Like, against the Dream and Mystic, she had good defensive rebounding games, and there's a lot of games this season where she's getting more offensive than defensive rebounds. If we're looking at just total defensive rebounds, her numbers are very similar to Caitlin Clark's for the year. But she's the best offensive rebounder in the league. She is probably the best at guarding your Nneka Nwumake's, your Breanna Stewart's, your Alyssa Thomas, those type of like mobile fours. She might be the best at guarding them in the league. She can't score from more than 2 feet away from the basket. She's actually good at drawing fouls and shoots the free throws really well. She's a really solid defender, elite rebounder. The problem is that, again, team kind of sucks, and as good as she sometimes is down the stretch, she's a person who will play. She does tend to get into a little bit of foul trouble. She at times will play an occasion, not a game, especially like last night. And maybe I'm judging her too harshly on those 2 games against the Indiana Fever, where I don't care that she put up 11 points and 13 rebounds. I think she was a major reason why they lost that game. And then what did she have in the previous game? The previous game, Fever's not there, but I think she was a major factor in why her team lost that game. Her just frustration fouling Caitlin Clark by just 2-hand shoving her on the sideline, nowhere near the basket, and putting her on the line. But I do think that Angel Reese is going to win Rookie of the Year. I just think right now Caitlin Clark's in first place. She's having a historically good season. And I don't mean historically good rookie year, historically good season. If she ends the year, she's averaging 16, 5, and 6 with 1.4 steals and 1 block a game. If she ends the year 16, 5, 6, 1, and 1, no one in the history of the WNBA has had that. No one in the history of the WNBA has had 15, 5, 5, 1, and 1. And Caitlin Clark could potentially do that in her rookie year. Through 2 months of her rookie, or through a month of her rookie year, she's averaging a stat line that no one in the history of the WNBA has ever averaged. She is, again, you can see here, when she's having a bad game, she's having a real bad game. When she's having a good game, she's having a real good game. And that is the one thing why I think, when it's all said and done, Angel Reese is probably going to overtake Caitlin Clark in just rookie rankings or as the Rookie of the Year. I think that we're going to see Caitlin Clark have a lot more stinkers throughout the year, and that's fine. She's a rookie, but I do think she's going to have I wouldn't be surprised if when we're ranking the top 5 games that a rookie has this year, if Caitlin Clark is 4 of the 5. But I also wouldn't be surprised if we were to rank the top 5 worst games a rookie had this year, if Caitlin Clark is at 3 of those 5 too. So she's leading the Rookie of the Year race. There's a reason why she's like minus 1,000 to win. But if you're asking me right now, I'm not a betting man. If you're asking me what do I think it's more likely Clark wins Rookie of the Year or the field, I'm going for the field. But I think right now she is, without question, leading that race. Not by much over Angel Reese. I think Clark plays 2 bad games in a row and Angel Reese has 2. And I don't even give a damn about the double-doubles on the stats. Like, she was garbage against the Fever. She was garbage against the Mystics. And I don't care that she got 2 double-doubles there. Whereas she was really, really good against the Connecticut Sun. I know, obviously, it's a double-double. It's a 20 and 10 game. She was okay against the Dream, if I don't remember. And she was garbage here against the Mystics as well. So it's like, I don't care about the double-double. I just want her to play well like she did against the Liberty, like she did against the Fever the first time, like she did against the Sun. So if she can continue to just play well, and the fact is even her bad games are she's still going to be the best offensive rebounder in the league. So she has a skill set that can still thrive when she's having a bad game, whereas if Caitlin Clark's having a bad game, she doesn't necessarily have a skill set to thrive. So that's just my opinion on it all.